Okay. Hi, my name is Ashish, and today I have with me Samir Shisodia. Samir runs Linger, and also he's leading the investment arm of Zerodha's Rain Matter Foundation. Now, Samir has been involved in uh, product management, engineering, and pretty much all aspects of startups for a very, very long time. He's one of the OGs of the startup ecosystem. Welcome, Samir.
Thanks, Ashish. Glad to be here.
So one of the things, Samir, you and I often talk about, and I mean, apart from things like saving the world, to some of the startups that we truly care about, and in general, we have liked how they have grown and how they went about building and what they could have done, right? So, and one of the companies has been Dunzo. It's something which we've been talking about for almost 2 to 3 years. Obviously, two reasons. One is the fact that they started with a very humble, iterations where the founder himself was delivering the products and the couriers and kind of started with a simple WhatsApp group. Then eventually build the products. The typical good MVPs, right? From there to now, a company which has raised millions of dollars, but still struggling to pay salaries. I thought let's bring back our conversations and really talk about what Dunzo could have been. Obviously, Dunzo is now a delivery service, a quick commerce business, blah blah. But what were the possibilities? What are your thoughts?
When Dunzo started out, I mean, it was our company. It was a classic
Yeah,
Bangalore story, brilliant idea of a seriously unfilled gap, you know, uh, and all of us were using it just for the heck of it. I think
yeah,
we were proud to use it. So it is almost one of those stories that uh, you belong to and you owned as part of the startup ecosystem. And I think it was very exciting to see something like that emerge out of India because it was a very uniquely Indian way of solving it. It used the resources, the human capital around. It was an optimization problem, but it was also very enmeshed with the social realities of India and the needs of our cities and so on and so forth. So yeah, I think uh, there there was a lot of possibility. There still is a lot of possibility, to be honest. I mean, it's not like the story's over. Logistics has been growing. We're seeing things like ONDC start to make a difference,
yeah.
and so on and so forth. But yeah, we know how the stories unfolded in the recent past, and uh, it definitely could have gone differently. I wish it had gone differently.
And I think one of the ways that we have been discussing, and in general, which I still believe is a very strong way for a company like Dunzo to actually rethink their whole strategy, is that think of it as an open source platform, right? So uh, obviously Dunzo has its own rules and regulations in terms of what the platform does, and how does the buyer make the payments, and orders yeah, makes an order for courier, etc., right? But imagine this, that anybody who's free for the next 3 days can have their own done. So a team of people who are in tier 3 cities, they can just create their own Dunzo using the same platform, and that's it. Obviously they are governed by the rules of what Dunzo has done. So you cannot really go past that. But I think that's something which like WordPress. So WordPress. So there's an open source version of WordPress which you can use, and pretty much the same features. And there is WordPress.com, right, which is hosted by WordPress, right? So Dunzo is basically WordPress.com, right? And there could have been this whole open source platform. I mean, when I say open source, it's more open in terms of the usage, and less in terms of code based open source, right? So anybody can create their own Dunzo, right? So it's not limited by what a company can achieve, whether they are in the city or not.
Absolutely. So I think it's the story of the internet itself, right?
Yeah.
And the story of the VC funded business, which was a slice of the internet. The internet was an enabling platform, right? AWS is an enabling set of services. The real promise of the internet was in this enablement. But with the shorter term focus, the um, life cycle of a fund, and so on and so forth, the pressures that has brought in, it's forced more and more gatekeeping behavior. It's true
Yes.
of marketplaces. It's true of logistics platforms like Dunzo. It's true of a lot of other things, right? I would even um, argue for something like Uber being a lot more of an open platform, because
Hmm.
when you're an enabling platform, the use cases that get discovered on it, the behaviors that get discovered on it are almost infinite, right? And isn't that what the internet was supposed to do? Right. And for something like Dunzo, solving that logistics puzzle, creating a whole set of optimizations on it, a whole set of functions that various use cases could run off. I think that would have been a brilliant way to go, to be honest. But to me, the entire promise of the internet got almost compromised by the gatekeeping behavior that we see from a lot of especially the funded startup world.
Yeah, I think the basic fact that why is it a consumer startup, right? Why is Dunzo a consumer company? Fundamentally, it's a logistics company, right? So, and of course, for the early days, you need to have a consumer face to solve for the use cases, because you want to show the world that these are the use cases that can be developed. But uh, eventually, you are a logistics company. You are a boring, bloody logistics company, which doesn't need to spend so much money on cool Twitter handles, on great, product, in terms of very complicated product, or a lot of use cases. You are a logistics company, provide logistics to others, right? So I think that platform, the platform as a service business, uh, that, yeah, I mean, the VC money doesn't guarantee, because it takes a lot of time to build something like that. You know, I
Platforms
mean, if you look at it, yeah, exactly. And if
ecosystems are by definition a long-term game. You can't shortcut your way through it. Yeah.
exactly, and so there's I think in the book Built to Last, there's a very famous sentence which just stuck with me, and it was, you want to tell the time or build the clock.
Mm.
So you are telling, so companies like logistics company are basically, they should build the clock and not get into the telling the time business, because that is like Dunzo found its so-called product market fit with quick commerce business, which kind of zoomed because of Zepto, and obviously a lot of stuff happening in the Silicon Valley. But till then, I mean, even now, it's a logistics business, and my basic question has been that, do these companies really need so many engineers, so many product managers, so much of focus on brand building, when they could have been the most boring business in the ecosystem and still be profitable, did not raise a lot of money.
Yeah, I think in chasing the sexiness of a few stellar use cases, I mean,
Yeah.
it's important to realize that those use cases will keep appearing and disappearing. You mentioned the quick delivery uh, fiasco that we've seen unfold, right? It's had a meteoric rise and a meteoric crash, right? And more such will appear. More such experiments will happen. Like, are you in the California gold rush? Like we all know, the people who sold the tools made the money, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, boring businesses are the ones which actually create value, which enable a lot of such things. And logistics played definitely was needed, because last mile logistics is still an unsolved problem for India. In the case of Dunzo itself, it still costs me $350 to send a 150 rupee packet of across the city.
Yeah.
It's there are many unsolved problems in it. There are many optimizations to be done. There are many there's many functions to be enabled on top of this logistics that such experiments could live off. And the experiments will come and go in business. Some business ideas will make it, but they all need the logistics backend worked out.
Exactly.
Right. I would actually say that there are experiments happening at this point of time, which Dunzo is not participating in, right? In terms of you see that in small ways and big all around you. There are a gazillion experiments. If you were the enabler of these experiments at the back end, it would be really great. And you do need product management, but you need product management focused on the boring bits of it, not necessarily the tech platform and the software bits of it, or just getting enamored by the sexy use cases. You need your ear on the ground. You need to figure out what's happening in the FMCG last mile. You need to figure out how various cities are developing. Bangalore is developing very differently from Chennai or from tier 3 city somewhere else. Right? What are the logistics needs that are showing up there? You are yourself involved in some home baking, right? What are the logistics need of home baking? So if you understood the cross section of where logistics is headed, what needs are popping up, you need product management around that. You need to be able to respond to that. You need to be able to do a better go-to-market on that, but not in the let's sit in my office and create more software sense of it.
Yeah.
I think mistaking your product, your tech app or your tech platform for the product was a classic mistake in this case. Your product is really the logistics bits and pieces and functionality for everybody out there.
I think, at the end of the day, it's a question of where are you going deeper into, are you, and answering the most fundamental question, which I ask a lot of founders, even myself, that what business are you in? It's one of the most difficult question to answer because, like in case of Dunzo, they can't even say they're in logistics business anymore because, they are not even deep into it, right? I can just send couriers. Like Porter, I would argue that they're way deeper into logistics business. I can, like, just yesterday I ordered three, big packets of cat litter, and I needed to have it basically couriered in a three-wheeler. So Dunzo doesn't even have those options, right? So it's not even in logistics business. It's just in a customer acquisition business, right?
Yes, it is.
And,
Absolutely.
and
Porter fantastically well, like you said, a boring business. I mean, I don't know the numbers, but as an end user, it's a boring business that's been built steadily. The number of offerings has expanded. They do what Dunzo does, but they also do what Packer and Mover does, almost that, without actually becoming a Packer Mover. I think you need to build businesses like that, looking at the end use cases in the space you are trying to solve for. I think what happens, you and I both understand that the color of money dictates our priorities very often, right? And when there's this grade of money involved, it you can't almost ignore the pressure from that. So you end up solving the problems that, let me put it this way, you're solving for the VC and not for the end user.
Yeah, it's a VC market fit.
It's a it's a funding market fit, not a product market. It's a product funding fit, not a product market fit, and that's not necessary. Yeah. So there's a
Yeah,
problem with that.
and I think, I mean, that's where the whole dilemma lies, because uh, you don't want a company like Dunzo to just disappear, right? But
Obviously.
it'll be disastrous, right? But at the same time, when you see that the company is bleeding so much money, you start questioning. Okay, uh, I'm paying 300 rupees. Just so 3 days back, I paid 300 rupees for a courier, from my place, which is in Chester layout, to somewhere in Mahadevpura, so around 36 kilometers from here. Now, the big question is, as a consumer, do you think I'm paying less, or should it be like 600 rupees? So are consumers being charged less? I'm not sure, because fundamentally I can get somebody, and say, yeah, this is the small courier. Take it in your bike and go there. I pay for your, petrol, plus I'll give you, 50 rupees extra. I'm sure a lot of people would agree to it, right? So the big
It's an
question
operations
is,
business at the end.
hmm,
It's an OR problem at the end.
yeah,
You know, you got to look at both on the market side and on the opportunity side, the cost of fuel, the traffic situation. Like Bangalore has this brilliant opportunity, Karnataka has this brilliant opportunity where women can travel in buses for free,
yeah,
right? Assuming you're comfortable with the 300 rupee cost,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
What does a free bus ticket cost? And how
Yeah,
many tickets could that that lady have, how many pieces or how many units SKUs could that person have delivered? Your
yeah,
your your Madhepura is about 20 kilometers, give or take, right? Depending on where you're
hmm,
going in Madhepura. That's like a huge opportunity waiting, right? So if you're actually solving the operations problem, you got your ears on the ground, both on the supply side and the demand side, and you're trying to figure out how to respond to it, how to optimize it. It's an optimization problem. You are forever continuously optimizing. And yes, there is absolutely no way sending a small packet across Bangalore for 300, 350 watts makes sense, to be honest. Unless it's a critical emergency. And there was, I forget the name of the service. There was a service which offered you this option of an express delivery, and we'll send it over the next 2 days if you're not in a hurry
yeah,
at half the
yeah,
price.
yeah. I think
Optimizations are possible. So yeah.
exactly. So that's the whole idea behind, something being a logistics company, right?
Yeah.
Because then you come up with these options, right? So not everybody needs to have those deliveries done, in real time,
Yeah.
right? Most of us are okay with, let's say I book it, instead of say charging me 300 rupees, you say, okay, just pay me 150, but I'll deliver it over the next 2 days. That's fine,
So
right? So and that,
solved it could have solved so many cases for the hyperlocal story. You and I have been discussing
exactly,
the hyperlocal story for ages, where trust is not the problem. Discovery is a little bit of a problem. But the last mile delivery, given Bangalore's traffic situation, and the inertia that sets in after you come back from a long day at work, the tools that hyperlocal needs to uh, deal better or more frequently with the audience base that already knows it and already trusts it. And this was such a tool. It also solves the problem of the 20 something in your neighborhood going around on the scooter, you know, killing time.
yeah,
It could actually be an optimization problem over a bunch of these that you're solving, right? So I think the focus on the problem that you're solving, the enablement layer that you're creating, I think that was and continues to be the way to go to solve logistics. Maybe maybe it is not tolerant of VC money. Maybe it doesn't look
yes,
like a
that yeah,
yeah,
that's the most fundamental question, right? So a boring business like this would probably not need a VC money beyond, let's say, an early, maybe Series A kind of money. That's it, not Series D, E, and finally F, right?
yeah.
So it doesn't need to F around with a lot of VC money. right? you know, so I think so to summarize, what we are basically saying is that a company knowing what business it is in is probably the most important thing. And for a logistics business, it's really important to understand the dynamics of the city and what's happening, what are the and most importantly, building for the consumers, right? Building for the end use cases, which need not be consumer use cases.
Yeah. Also, I mean, when you have millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars thrown at a problem like this, you lose the connect with the Basanagudi trader who's thinking of the value difference between a 75 rupees and 100 rupees. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
You lose touch with it. So I think less money thrown at it is a good thing, not a bad thing. So, yeah.
Cool. That was yeah. I think that's pretty much. So this was. I hope the entire point of this was to really get founders and teams to think beyond the VC money, and in general think beyond just building everything as a consumer use case versus building platforms. I think we do need platforms in India like these, where there's a lot of money, a lot of great teams, but really not great products, not great use cases.
And I'd love to see Dunzo claw back out of this,
Yeah, yeah,
build the platform that they started out building, and all power to them. They started building out something beautiful. So I hope it happens.
yeah, yeah. Same here. I mean, it's one of those companies where you actually feel that, yeah, I mean, these are
Yeah,
the guys who should really win. Cool.
absolutely.
All right. Thanks, Samir.
No, my pleasure. Always nice to talk to you.
See you.